who's on the agenda? Do we have any other public comments?
I'm here, Terry Parks, cemetery sexton, to sign the cemetery policy if it's here.
Yep.
I think it is. I know the, we have to re-sign the deed because I didn't print it on deed paper.
Okay.
So I don't know that you need to reapprove it. You can if you want.
We had approved it last.
Right, but you signed it on
Paper. That's the deed, right, that you were talking about?
Right, yeah. Apparently this isn't the right paper I found. I may not have brought that. I may have to go get that from you, Terry.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the agenda that we have out.
This is the one I printed for me, and then I redid it, and I just copied mine instead of reprinting, which is what I should have done. I apologize. I keep on my office, and I couldn't organize myself. Excuse me, I'm gonna go get, I'm gonna get the paper for Terry to sign.
Okay.
If you wanna do this, I don't know what's next on your meeting.
So we had the zoning thing, new business, COVID.
Do we have any public comments from the remote participants? Okay, then we'll proceed with our agenda then.
He just said he's trying to speak for the hearing,
Oh, I'm sorry.
so we can't hear him. That's Scott Kleinschrodt.
Did we have somebody who wanted to speak during our public comments?
Did you tell him we can't hear him? Did you tell Scott we couldn't hear him?
Scott, we could not hear you? Can you hear me?
He asked, why are we doing public comment first? And I said, I am speaking. So just tell
Can
him
you hear
we
me?
changed, yeah, we changed the agenda that was
We
mailed out.
changed the agenda, we changed the order as a courtesy if people wanted to speak, so they could start. Can you hear me?
So he's not muted.
So you can hear me, we cannot hear you. Is it my hearing? Can anybody else hear us?
Nobody can hear him.
Okay.
This guy says he can hear you, right?
And it doesn't look like he's muted.
The individual is identified as client. This is group representative.
And are you,
Can you hear me now?
I can, yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I think it's our computer, not yours, so please forgive me.
It could have been mine.
This is Scott Kleinschrodt,
Okay.
and I'm asking the question, why are we doing public comment first instead of at the end of the meeting, which is typical?
We were trying to be courteous so that if people wanted to speak publicly, if they had a public comment, they're certainly welcome to stay for the whole meeting, but they wouldn't feel obligated to, they wouldn't have to.
Am I going to be able to speak after John Swan's rebuttal to the Casella proposal?
I believe he's just making a presentation. We weren't going to be having a discussion.
So am I going to be able to respond after that presentation?
You could. Would you like to respond now? Would you?
No, I'll wait for the presentation. I'm curious as to what's going to be said, and I'm curious as to the facts that are going to be presented. And there may be a question. I might have a question after that.
Okay,
And
what
I
we're
didn't know
going
if I'd be allowed to do that or not.
I think we could. We're limiting John to 3 minutes, so we'll limit any response to 3 minutes as well.
It's 3 minutes if you're public comment, and you're on the agenda.
That would be
You can take.
fair. That would be okay.
Okay.
We just like to organize a debate, we can have a debate.
We're not set up to really have a discussion at this point. It was just for providing information, so, I just wanted to set that as the tone.
But you should clarify. If somebody's
Okay,
on the
I
agenda,
guess, Joe Beth, and I apologize, because I think 2 weeks ago when we were having this meeting, I had asked to be on the agenda even a week and a half prior to that. You folks hadn't gotten the request on the website, and I was under the impression that there would be a discussion tonight after you could see the request I made 4 weeks ago. And if I'm not, that's okay. But at some point, I didn't know if like John's proposal, the rebuttal to the proposal was going to be kind of that time, or if I would have separate time. I'm just a little confused.
No, I don't think we ever got, and it was 2 weeks ago, I thought you were going to, because we obviously have a glitch with our website, and right now we don't have web support to fix that glitch. So I thought you were going to email your request to the administrative assistant, and I don't think, to the select board, and we didn't see it, so.
I can do that for the next meeting. When is the next meeting
It is in 2 weeks.
scheduled?
The next
2
regular
weeks.
meeting is in 2 weeks.
Okay, so I'll try to give something to the town assistant tomorrow.
And I apologize for any confusion.
Besides that, I don't really have any comments until after John Swan's presentation.
Okay. And to follow up on a comment that you made 2 weeks ago about the broadband, the internet access, I did see an email about a collaborative project between Cowas and Grafton County for internet access. So if you can email us, and I have your email address, I can forward that email to you, and you could pursue that.
Instead just release
Thank you.
millions of dollars to bring broadband.
I believe Coas is one of the counties that did not finish broadband, and COVID-19 money to do that.
Okay. Yeah, and I know there's a project with Cowas and Grafton working together too that I saw.
They
I knew about,
haven't
so.
passed it on to Grant, and I believe that money can be used. I don't know if they've applied for it or if the town has to look into the money.
Yeah, I don't know the details.
I don't know the details either, so I'm saying we need to look into it, but he announced in one of his speeches this week that there was X amount of money for broadband to be put into the counties that didn't get the end result of pushing into the houses. So,
Can you get back on?
Some dim.
Right, can you ask whoever's not talking, mute?
Excuse me, could I ask for the remote participants? If you're not talking, if you could mute your computer, it will help. There's a lot of background noise. Thank you very much. That helps.
Hi, this is Pam Casson, resident of Dalton, New Hampshire. Hey, I have a suggestion for these meetings because they're so hard to hear. New Hampshire governor rules for this is like you could let 10 people in the room. Others could line up outside, and the select board could sit 6 feet apart, and it would be so much easier for everybody.
So we actually, one of the things I want to discuss today is to see if there's any update on the meeting rules for the state. I mean, we actually are physically here, and there are a few people who are socially distant.
Okay, good. That seems to be what the rule is right now. I guess they're gonna open up the state soon, so I don't know what other rules they'll have, but for those of us that are listening on the phone, it's really hard.
I can understand. It's a challenge for us as well, but we're trying to work through it.
We could even use the gymnasium if we really needed a lot of room.
No, I'm sorry, but I am really having some trouble with my hearing, and I had trouble in their last year hearing without a microphone.
No matter what. We still have to do remote, and it doesn't work over there.
Yes, that's it, and we don't have the internet over there too, and
We still have to do remote until it's totally open to the public.
Yep.
So, maybe the broadband will come through and we'll have better internet.
Oh, I don't quite concur with that, but okay.
I'm sorry?
I said I really don't concur with that because I know other towns are having like 10 people in and, you know, they seem to be doing just fine and it makes it a lot easier.
I have no problems with that, Pam,
Can't
but we
attend.
still have to have the remote session open to the public.
Because
Yes, Carol, I understand.
if we had more than 10 people here, then, or we were limiting it, we would still want to just try to have it accessible to people.
Right, and the 10 people that are allowed, usually the ones over 10 are waiting out in the hall for their turn.
You still have to have a public meeting. You cannot close people out of it, is what I'm saying. You can have 10 people in the room, but you can't make it a non-public meeting. It has to be open to the public.
It is.
And
Not if people are in the other room or not.
it doesn't matter where they are. They have to have access to hear what's going on. It's a public meeting.
So one of the things that we're going to talk about is just to see if we need to make any changes, so we'll have that discussion. But we do want to make sure that we have the meeting accessible if people are not comfortable coming in person. But we will talk about that. And we appreciate your input, because I know it's tough for us as well. Are there any other public comments before we move on to the other agenda items? Okay.
Was there another discussion other than public? Was there a discussion other than public meeting
Today?
just now?
There is,
No.
no. Okay.
Well, I
Okay. Yeah, we weren't on the agenda, but we were going to, ask some questions about the flag over at the Old Town Hall and the flag.
The flagpoles are
Okay.
split at the bottom, they're really beyond repair. We pulled one out and it's all split. It's actually kind of dangerous because there's a big sleeve inside of it now trying to hold it up. The tallest one. And there's no flag on it at this moment because we're kind of up in the air whether to hang a flag on it because we're afraid it's gonna top. Because they've been there a long time, as long as I can remember, and they've never been replaced.
What is the
So
flagpole
for the remote
here?
participants, we have Terry and Brian Parks talking about the flagpole and the flag over across the street. Can you hear them?
No, I cannot, they can't pass touchdown law.
Actually, I think that the state flag has to be a little bit lower than the federal one, than the American flag. The state has to be a little lower, I don't know. Yeah, that's why they're two different heights.
Do we have a cost?
I will get the cost. There is a company in Bethlehem, New Hampshire that makes them. And I will get, they run anywhere from 200 to 5. It depends on what the pole quality of the pole and the width and the height. We're willing to install them.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe, don't they sit on a sleeve and they come out of the ground?
They do, but I don't know about the new ones. These here are on the sleeve.
How about this, do you know anything about this flagpole out here? I know that we have a complaint about the flag out here, they would like a new one.
What's the matter with this one?
I guess it's patterned, I haven't seen it, or do we put a new
flag
one out?
itself
Yes.
is bad, yeah.
And I don't know how we made out with Memorial Day flags.
Terry and I put them on.
Yeah, we put the little flags out in cemeteries.
I'm in contact
Okay.
with
Cause, John Bean had come in, and we were trying to figure out, who's in charge of figuring that out every year? Is it through the cemetery? Should it,
We don't know either. John said he has been, he took his father several years ago, and he at first was in contact with the American Legion of Wakefield. And, then for a while, they were getting the flags from somebody in Littleton. And then he went back to, I'm not sure what transpired.
have a direct address to all of them direct from this company that the other ones get it from. So we don't have to go through the middleman. I do have the correct address, and we know now how many average it takes to put out. We have a few extra, but it was like 100,
About 120.
well, 120.
Any, yeah, a good 120
I'm sure we will get a bill at some point from Whitefield.
from the Legion.
It was kind of a mix-up. And I'm friends with Edgar, and he said to me, well, I've got your flag, so.
okay.
Then I went back.
So we don't know what the cost of that is yet.
I don't.
Right.
I don't. And I'll be seeing Edgar this week again, and I will get something. See how you can bill us. Because one year they didn't bill us, one year they did, so it's kind of a.
Okay.
So back
So
to
you're
the
checking more
flagpoles.
on the cemetery flags, and then you're going to check on the cost of replacing the flag poles. Okay. And then we need to look at the flags that are on the poles, right?
Yeah, but we should also have Brian look at the flagpole out here and make sure that
It's up to,
it's not as bad as the ones across the street.
we will look at it, yeah.
Okay.
This was a new one over here.
But, you know, if we're doing, we might as well look at this side too, make sure that,
Well, I was thinking of local. I mean, they build them, they make them in Bethlehem. This guy does it in Bethlehem. He's
Okay.
local, so I've been trying to look into what he's got. So I'm gonna dig a little deeper into him and find out what his cost. I know what it averages, and, you know.
Has left the meeting.
Fine. They got a certain wind speed. It's kind of a.
yeah.
Yeah. But that'd be good if we could look at all of them at the same time, and
Those
then,
tops are all gone. What happens is the flag goes up, catches on the top, because it's all tearing the flag because and the bottoms are, like I said, the tallest one is the worst.
okay.
And that's split up quite a ways, and I'm afraid that it's gonna top at some point.
Okay,
So I will get the exact figures,
perfect. Thank you.
and we're willing to install them.
And I think, Terry, we had emailed you back when this arose, before Memorial Day, asking if you would be willing to take on the flag issue every year, or if you knew somebody that would, so that it didn't fall in the cracks.
I don't know, did I get any new from them?
It was a month ago, so I don't.
I think we're asking
I don't know,
John
we're just
Bean
trying to
to,
make sure
like,
that we
write it
had
up so we had
somebody-
something for who was responsible and what the process was from year to
I
year?
don't believe John wants to throw it up, meaning that I don't think he wants to do it anymore, the way I understood John.
Okay,
So, I'm willing to do it as long as we're in the cemetery part of it, cause we know everybody, know where things go now, and kinda get an
Well, it
idea.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, it should be part of the section.
if you could just like write up just a real quick summary of how it's done, we'll have a binder and then, you know, cause we all
Maybe when it comes
didn't
to
have that
budget, we
history
can
of
put
how it
in
was
the
done and who
cemetery
did it.
budget, what, an estimate of what we need to buy the flags, so that at the last minute, we're all going.
And like I say, we can buy them direct, they'll ship them to us direct.
Yeah.
So, and which is just,
Do you have contacts with the legions and VFWs?
yes.
With the, yeah, the
Yeah,
one
I
in
do.
Whitefield.
Whitefield, I deal with them.
If you need more broader outreach, let me know. I'll certainly look to try and find other sources, you know, like Leon Rideouts up in, Lancaster.
I know Lancaster, yeah, so I know a lot of the guys,
Okay.
yeah. But if we can buy the flags direct, cause they don't, there's very few that donate, is what I'm saying, I guess, there is a
Right.
cost to them at any rate.
Okay, good, thank you very much.
And before we get off, would you mind signing this policy again and vote it on, cause I can't find the signed copy, and then Terry can sign it. She
Okay.
doesn't have this today. I apologize for my poor filing habits, but I'll find it as soon as I get back tomorrow, I'm gonna start going through stuff.
Okay, for the remote participants, we just had a discussion about the flagpoles out here and the flags, and, Brian Parks is going to give quotes for replacing the flagpoles that need to be replaced, and then we'll also look into replacing the flags. I don't know the cost of that.
I don't either. I
so-
know that we just got an email asking if we could,
Look into them because they need, they're
Yeah.
worn.
Same company, I can get the flags through also.
Yeah.
And Carrie and Brian had also taken care of the flag cemetery for Memorial Day.
So you're gonna check out the price of replacing the flags as well as the poles?
Yeah, they also have flags,
Yeah, good,
they come with the poles, so.
great, thank you.
Okay, so as we go to, new business, so the meeting rules, that's our first thing. I looked yesterday to see if there was an update on the New Hampshire Municipal Association, and I didn't find anything relevant.
I looked this afternoon, and I didn't find anything either.
The thing I did see is that there's legislature that is pending for town meetings. So there's some towns that have May town meetings, and they're talking about having a pretty convoluted process where like they drive by or they have remote where you have a public comment, you have things presented, and then you've got a period of public comments, and then you have another meeting, and then you actually vote by ballots, like a drive-through voting. So that's pretty convoluted, and that is something we should keep in mind if we had to have a special town meeting later this summer. I don't know what's gonna happen come March. But to see something that, what do I wanna say, that, with that much safety concern in it, makes me feel like we need to preserve a safe environment here. For people going back to work, I mean, most companies are checking temperatures and requiring face masks and social distancing.
And have a established cleaning protocol.
Yes. As well, and lots of hand washing too, as well as cleaning. So, you know, I feel like, you know, here we don't all have our mask on, but we are socially distant. We did some cleaning of the tables. I feel like that's appropriate, and then if we still have remote access, then people can participate remotely. Are there other thoughts, other ideas?
Well, I think at some point, we're gonna have to figure, what, if they if they open things up completely, we may have to, figure out what we need to do if we're gonna have more than 10 people in.
Right.
How we'd work that, like, Tina had mentioned like people coming in one direction and going out, how we would wanna clean, how we would set up the room, and there's the challenge with the internet.
Yeah, next door, cause we can't, yeah. So right now, you know, like, this group here is fine, this is workable.
Yeah, but we still have to have public access.
We absolutely have to have public access,
So
right.
I think that if that's a plan, then we need to look at internet in the gymnasium, which then we would have to, like you said, bring them in one way, they'd have to go out. But they would have to stand 6 feet apart with X's on the floor. But
Is there a way you can get a microphone that would help transmit to and from the remote?
It might, I mean, this was not working when it was just on the table there. And this is, I'm sorry, I'm just having trouble with my hearing, and so I'm trying to get sound to go directly to my hearing aids rather than ambient sound. A lot of times I can hear people speak, but it's muffled, and so these are the best hearing aids I can get. So I'm trying to work through that, I apologize, but what are the aging issues that I'm facing?
You come back?
Yes?
Pam, I hear you fine, but I cannot hear Carol and hear any very well.
Do you wanna try to lower it, because I have bigger.
So I'm not sure how come I can hear you well and not the others, but. would
Probably
you
because I'm sitting right next
consider-
to the laptop. Let me move it. There's plenty of.
Would you consider having people gather in the gymnasium and just have a broadcast through there that people could come up to a speaker or a microphone and speak?
I think if we have a big meeting, then I think we should address that, but for our regular routine meetings, I don't think we need to. I think that what we're doing now may not be ideal, but it is.
Yeah, it's pretty hard for the rest of the people that want to hear, but just something for thought.
Okay, and I mean, I tried to summarize what was said about the flags and the flagpoles. I mean, there was some conversation, but that was the gist of it.
I
Okay.
can call certified and see if there's some sort of a mic system they can recommend that would pick up Terry's speech and project it to the computer and vice versa.
Do you want me to like see if we, like I have bigger speakers on this,
That might,
and then if you turn your volume down?
you wanna try that? Yeah. Okay.
Alright, so we'll try that.
Echo here. You have to hear too. Or did I muted you instead of me?
so what?
Is that it there?
How's that?
Yeah, so go ahead.
You wanna try it?
Yes. Does this sound any clearer?
Can you hear us?
We can.
Can you hear us?
Because mine's up, and we're not muted.
They can hear me.
We're not getting.
Try it again.
Who left the meeting?
you want to go on to the next agenda item?
Yes.
So basically, there's no change in what we're doing.
Correct. You reading the motion for that then?
Portion of that, yeah.
Yes, sir. Your second.
I think I'm muting you instead of me here. Okay. All right. I'll turn mine down. I mean, I think I have better speakers on mine. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not sure it's working though.
By the time the streetlights are on.
All right. All right. We've tried a few things and then it didn't work. Can you hear us again? Hello, are
I can hear you, Joe Bennett. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, no, I can hear you now.
Okay.
I think it's if you're in front of that laptop, I think that probably is the trick.
But you can't social distance and have people walk up in the You can't it's hard to social distance.
Yeah, so the trouble is with social distancing, it's hard for people to walk up close to the computer. We will look into seeing if there's some way we can get a remote microphone or something that will pick up sound better. Okay. So for now, we're going to continue with our meeting with social distancing and remote access. We took care of the fiscal application and the New Hampshire Welfare Association. We have a draft ad for the sale by sealed bid of the property. So the ad reads, for sale by sealed bid. The town of Dalton is accepting sealed bids for the sale of a tax deeded property identified as tax map 413 lot 940, land and buildings, 5 acres, located on 23 Hall Road with deed reference of book 1410, page 0411. The map of the property and tax cards are available at the town office during regular business hours. The town will sell the property as is and makes no representation about the condition or size of the property or the town's title to the property. Transfer of the title will be by deed without covenants of title. The property will be sold subject to the obligation to pay taxes for the current year. The purchaser will be responsible for paying all recording fees and the transferee's real estate transfer tax. So sealed bids will be accepted at the Dalton Municipal Building, 756 Dalton Road, Dalton, New Hampshire, 02598, until 4 p.m. Thursday, July 9, 2020. Bids will be opened at the Selectmen's meeting on Monday, July 13th. Bids must be accompanied by a deposit of $800 in the form of a bank or certified check. The successful bidder shall pay the balance of the bid price by July 21st in the form of a bank or certified check. If the successful bidder does not make full payment by 4 p.m. July 21st, the deposit shall be forfeited and the town may award the bid to the next eligible bidder. The town will return all bid deposits made by unsuccessful bidders. The town reserves the right to reject any and all bids and to amend the terms of the sale. Do we have any?
Obviously, the dates and the deposit amount are for your decision, and I'll just correct the ad out. Put it in the paper.
Okay.
Did we check into, did we check into the auction, if we sell that, do we have to pay whatever we make on profit back to the original landowner? So we were gonna look into that.
And I did not. I suspect we won't have any money.
But we need to know.
We need to know what is owed on it, if we.
Well, the owed is here, but we don't wanna discuss that in public.
Correct, but if we sell it bids, we need to know what the bid has to be, at least has to
We
be.
need to know the rules.
Yeah.
We need to know the rules, what happens, what we can list it for, what we can, reclaim in terms of the taxes that are owed, and then the taxes that have not been collected since it's been in,
You know, when
limbo.
towns had it for
3 years.
3 years, so can we recoup that 3 years of taxes we did not get
Right.
out of that bid?
So I think we need to find that out.
We need to know the rules on that.
But we can go ahead and post the ad.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So if we go back to the agenda,
Is that deposit sufficient, the 800?
yes.
That's what we asked for last time.
So we go back to the posted agenda so that people can follow along, because I think that's probably what they're going by. We had the re-sign the cemetery deed, which we did. The sale, so the next thing was the sale of the police inventory.
Okay, I'm sorry, I have a different agenda than the one that's posted in front of me.
She printed the wrong one,
Oh, okay,
but this is what everybody at home is going by,
okay.
so.
So I will let you be the keeper of the agenda, because
Okay.
I don't want to, if I pull it up on my computer, then I will.
So what I, said last meeting, we had 2 different bids. We had one for the, police, inventory.
The deeded property first, is this ad okay to send?
Yes, we said it was.
You just want to.
Yep. Yep, I think we said that.
Do we need a
Just find
motion?
that information.
So I put a spreadsheet together to compare the quote from the village store in, Whitefield, who is owned by a Dalton resident, and also by Cody, who also assessed the, pistols. So if you look at the comparison, the village, gun store comes out, like is offering more than Cody across the board, and in some instances, it's almost double.
Well, in some it's a range, and
Right.
the lower part of the range is the same as Cody.
Right.
And so the question is, what do we want as a price if we're going to sell it to Coles County Sheriff's Department?
Right.
Now, either of those two expressed interest in purchasing if the sheriff's department doesn't? Has that been brought up? Just
No, I mean, basically, we would have to pay a fee for each one of them to sell them from the store. I believe, Cody won't charge a fee if they sell them to the sheriff's department. I don't know about the village. But, and the process of these fees is also, they have to be, done legally with a background check. They can't be sold to just people off the street. I guess one of them is a shotgun that has a short barrel or something that is illegal to sell to anybody but law enforcement. So that's the other thing to consider.
So it seems like we should have a price or a range that we would sell them to the sheriff's office. And at least that's that'd be the easiest and most straightforward way of dealing with these.
There's a much easier way. But, I don't know, what is the total of both? Do you have an
They
idea?
had a range.
Is the sheriff's department interested in the whole lot?
Yes.
And maybe see what the best number less fee is from either gun store, and see if the sheriff bites at that price.
Mm-hmm. It's a fee, do we know what the fee is? Is it 10%, 10%, 20%, or?
Probably like 10, I think.
Yeah,
Or higher?
I'm thinking that when the sheriff was here, he was offering $500 for all of them.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that we can just do, I mean, I'm taking the low ball on the village, and then I will do Cody's.
Yeah, Cody's is $2,210.
2,200?
Yeah.
And then what's the range on the village?
I haven't done that one yet.
Even if you go with the low.
Yeah, I think that that's allows it more.
$500 off the cheap.
Yeah.
Some festivals you can't buy one for that.
Yeah.
That's why we've got,
In no way, you know.
that's why we tried to get it in the.
Yeah, so the,
4,400 on village, that's the low side. So,
Is that after the fee?
yeah, that's just what he has them appraised for.
What's his assessed value?
At the low end, he's got a range from like one is 200 to 250, one is 250 to 300, one is 275 to 325. So I took the low, and he comes up at 44 at the low range. And what did you say, Cody?
Cody was,
2,200.
yeah, so I got for the village, I got, the low was, 3,175.
Well, there you go.
Maybe, add the higher ones?
No, there's.
Do you have a spreadsheet on you?
I did, but I didn't do
You
it on
didn't do
this,
it,
yeah.
okay.
I'd go with the high to the sheriff and see if they work you down. You may not even be in the ballpark, you know?
Yeah. Should we take the average between the low from the village and the low from, and Cody's? It's gonna be about,
High, because you can't negotiate upward.
You got 3175, is that what you said?
should we try for? 31 or 3,200?
Yeah,
And then
I
we
would
can
say
negotiate
32.
down.
Yeah, I would say 3,200 sounds a good starting point.
And that's without the taser.
Right.
Right, the taser's not.
Because we don't have an estimate on the taser.
Somebody say we'd have to go to the company that sells them to get that.
We have it. He got it back in May of 2019 from Axon, which is a company that deals in police equipment. So,
We have the purchase price.
yeah, it was 1,200 and something, 1,298.
Probably wouldn't get 12,000.
No, but you should be able to, but we haven't seen that unless it's over in the PD.
He posted it. Did you have a note?
But it could be sold through a gun dealer too, right? Through the
Yeah.
sheriff's department.
But nobody seems to know or seen it, so I don't know if it's over there.
It was, have been told that it was returned in as soon as we got our letter. I think the problem is nobody was back or nobody thought to let us know when they were over there.
Okay, do you wanna get an estimate for the taser before we go to the sheriff's office?
Do they want the taser?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
So we could go to them with this and ask about the taser and then pursue their price for
What are we
that.
deciding to ask?
3,200?
So what was the high, 44?
No, that was an incorrect addition.
And the taser's not of use to really anyone other than police, so go high and they can throw in the taser. Because we're gonna try and make one dime you down, so
Right, but the taser could be more, I'm not sure how much
I
the
don't know
taser.
how much they cost, but maybe we'll find out and ballpark.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have the,
I think I'd go with what you said.
right,
Go with this and then ask if they're
What's on
interested in the
the split?
taser.
yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they only.
Did you
want-
have a connection with the gentleman from the sheriff's office that?
I do not. And then Warren works. Warren has them, Warren Green has the guns, and he has them locked in the safe. And, as soon as we make a decision on what we're doing, we need to secure them somewhere, and I have no idea where.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly don't wanna secure them.
I don't either.
You know, so.
I mean, I could call, is it Ray, that came down here?
What was his name?
I have it, that one. I think I have it.
That was something else.
Yeah, but I
It's
was,
on one of the agendas, the older agenda, so his name's on there.
I have his phone number and everything.
So we
do you wanna contact him? And,
I mean, you give me a price to throw out at him, and I think.
okay. I think we've agreed on, our first offer would be 3,200.
So if we're ready to move on, the next old business was the conservation fund withdrawal.
And I think that's all in motion, right? I know we saw the, summary of the procedure for that. Is there anything that, it's something that we decide on?
Okay. Okay, so that's, and then, so we go to new business. We've already done a few of these, revisit meeting rules, which we've done. Signed pistol application for New Hampshire level, we've done. Reviewed the ad, and then the next new business is John Swan Casella response.
I'll come up here so that they can hear if you want.
Sure.
I'm kind of staying over here. I'm gonna pass these out. I do find it funny that someone who claims to not have a position on the landfill has already said they'd like to rebut what I have to say when they don't know what I have to say. But these are, I made copies for each of you, testimony from the residents who have lived in Bethlehem, a host community to Casella Waste Systems, as well as testimony from residents who have lived in Southbridge, Mass, also home to Casella Waste Systems landfill there. So these are basically testimony, basically warning Dalton of what's to come. And I really just wanted to present this in light of the fact that we've seen a Dalton resident lately seemingly advocating very strongly for the town to take a look at the proposal by Casella Waste Systems when we don't even have a proposal or know what the proposal really entails. My goal here tonight is to share the warnings of these other residents of host communities who have lived under Casella and dealt with them, to warn you. And the bottom line, to summarize everything they tell you, is despite all the promises of riches that Casella will offer the town and its residents, to summarize their warning to you is it's not worth it. And then finally, the only other thing I really have to share with you, and I hope this gets into the record so other people in Dalton can read this, is I've started a summary of lawsuits, fines, and violations against Casella Waste Systems. It's by far incomplete. It's something I've been working on, but I can tell you that from New York, Pennsylvania, to Maine, to New Hampshire, to Vermont, that this company is mired in controversy. They tend to come in and divide a community. They find surrogates who will try and advance their agenda. And then once they get their foot in the door, they are very litigious. And you'll see on there numerous times they've sued the host community when the host community has not acquiesced to their wishes, mostly due to expansion. So there's a lot of property over there by Forest Lake that would be generations of landfilling coming in from out of state. So despite the promises of Casella Waste Systems, and by the way, their proposal or 25-year offer of money, that landfill, that site would represent more than 75 years worth of landfilling. I bet it would be at least 100 years due to the size of it. If you look at Bethlehem, you look at Southbridge, the time it takes, and those are trucks that will be coming from out of state, bringing waste to Dalton, and Dalton will never be the same. And anyway, I just hope you heed the warnings of these folks from these other towns that have hosted Casella, as well as take a look at the character of this company through the violations, the lawsuits, the fines. They're just, not only are they a controversial company, they appear to be a poor operator in terms of running their operations. So I'll share that with you, and that is really all I have to say. Thank you very much. I hope they could hear me.
And we had talked earlier in the year about having a binder with general letters, whether, you know, whatever the thing is, but letters that are open to the public. I don't think that we have it ready to actually, is it?
That's a binder and there are papers in it, but they're not typed yet, so it's not far from getting
Okay.
done, it just has to be done.
You're right. So at some point, we will have all of this information available to the public to read, and
I hope that would go in the minutes tonight, but I did hand it out. It's a public document now that was discussed in meeting.
do you have it electronically?
I could send Tina electronic copies.
Okay, then it could be attached to the minutes, certainly.
I mean, I can scan it and do the same thing, but.
But if he already has it electronically, then he's just scanning it.
So the next item on new business is draft of new Dalton zoning ordinances.
And that basically was because it's gone out to the public, it's on the website, there are copies out here for people, and each of you have a copy. I don't know whether you wanna talk about it, or whether you.
I can just summarize that the planning board, and Terry can do this, if you would like to, Terry, you can. So the planning board has been working since last September, I believe, in their regular public meetings. And they now have a draft that's out, it's on the website. And they would like informal comments at this point. And so we did test the comment section on the planning board, and it did work at the meeting, so hopefully it works. But you could also, it would be good if you send comments to also email them to the planning board. And the hope is to get comments about it, constructive criticism, and then hopefully by June 26th, so that at the next meeting they can discuss the comments and see where they go from there. You have anything else, Carrie?
No, other than I haven't seen any come in through the planning board email.
I think there's been one.
Oh, has there been one?
Yeah. I thought I saw one.
I'll check again.
Okay.
Thank you for what you guys have done and worked on. Really. I know you guys have spent a lot of time on it and a lot of work.
Yeah, and the planning board minutes are also open to the public, and
Which I don't have, so they're not posted up on the website.
So Carl said he emailed them to you. Can you follow up with
He
Carl?
needs to email them again, because I do not have.
Okay,
them.
can you reach out to him and?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So there was one item of old business that I've
Yeah.
not seen.
Before we go that, when is your next meeting?
first Wednesday in July.
July 1st.
July 1st?
But you said something about July 26th?
June 26th,
June
to
26th.
have comments, so they're
That was
in
my,
time to,
I heard the month wrong.
June 26th deadline for the comments, so that we can then review it
Do them on
on
July
July
1st.
1st.
Okay. I just heard July 26th, and I didn't mesh with what I was thinking. Thank you.
and there are a few copies that are out in the, entryway in this building. And to get to them online, go to the, planning board tab, and the link, I think, is way down at the bottom with the other links.
I did also put it on, I believe, the forums and things page that got set up,
Okay.
so it's, I think there are twice.
So So,
If I can, I'd like to add to what John said, it's obvious that not every person is gonna agree with every word in the preliminary, zoning ordinance. However, it's also obvious that, the planning board did an extremely professional job. It reads very well and seems to be comprehensive.
Yeah.
Elliot, could you just announce who you are for the remote
My name
participants?
is Elliot Westall. The people of Dalton and other communities surrounding Dalton appreciate your efforts.
It was a little disappointing that we haven't had too many, well, especially with the pandemic, but prior to that, we were in the fall, up into December, we were meeting every 2 weeks, trying to hash out the details. And there were very few, if any, residents who come in to listen in or give any input. So we do hope that with this being published on the web, and the newspapers, getting a press release, that people will take a look at it and, put in their comments, whether it's pro or con, and so that we will have some feedback, we can study it and do the best that we can for the town.
For the remote
I'd like to
participants, that was.
comment on that too, if I could, because, people I've talked to, felt that the planning board, right from the get-go seemed to be doing a very good job. And there was a sentiment of the people that I talked to, let them do their work. You've always said that there would be opportunities, for public comment. Let them do their work, and let's see what they come up with.
Yeah, thank you.
okay. The one thing that was not on this agenda, I'm not sure we closed it out last time, but is that the property that one of our residents wanted to donate to the town. So looking into that, the select board's not authorized to accept gifts. It's the legislative body, which is the voters.
Right.
So we would have to put it on a warrant article, I guess.
Unless he is going to take the route of going through the conservation,
Okay.
because there are, what do I wanna say? He wants certain things, like,
Covenants.
thank you, covenants.
Yep.
And if the town accepts it, we have to, how do I put this?
It's what's in the deed. The covenants would have to be in the deed to restrict use.
So he's better off to seek the advice of conservation, so that,
Okay.
that's what we decided.
And you were gonna talk with him.
And I talked to him a little, I need to get back to him with, the other thing.
Okay.
Not finished with it.
Okay, all right.
But it will be easier for him, for legal, he has to do the legal and put in what he wants for covenants. If he donates it to the town, we all have to agree that, I believe, and I'm not 100% sure, but I also see 2 headstones on that property. Do you know anything about that?
Where is this property?
And I kind of look every time I go by, and I meant to ask him that, I was gonna call him back. Where Brooks, what's the name of the road?
Brooks's live down in the.
Yeah.
Double wide.
George and Pat Brooks'
Thank you.
property.
And then there's the road that goes down, it used to be the DePina resident on this side.
Yeah, the big
And
house.
Irvin Brown wants to donate the 19 acres on the other side of the road and have it made only so that it can never be built on, it can just be used for recreational purposes.
So is that the field on the, if you turned and went down, Scotts Junction Road? Is the field on the left?
The field on the right going down,
On the right.
right across from the house, with the Pina house.
Okay.
The map, we have it on the map, it's 19 point something 6 acres. But I wasn't sure, I think when I drive by, I
I
can
don't
see.
think there's much of a field there, is there, on the right?
And I think it borders the Johns River.
I was thinking it was maybe brushy or, I'm not sure.
I think we had looked at the tax map and found it. I don't remember the specifics.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you were able to tell him to go to the Society for Preservation of New Hampshire Forests, or what are the?
And he was gonna look into it too, so.
But you said that there was a couple of monuments.
It looks like there's 2 headstones in the corner of the field. I could be totally wrong about that.
I've never heard of it, so I don't know. Is it near?
You take the same
Railroad
road to
tracks?
Brook, you take the same dirt road to, down to Brookside?
Yeah, that's Scotts Junction Road.
Correct. And before you get to where we did fire training with that bridge, and the snowmobile trail.
Yeah.
But you can see from 142 down in the corner, there looks like to be 2 stones in the corner of that field.
Is it possible that they are smaller?
I don't know, they look like about this wide.
Not that wide.
That's why I'm thinking they're,
I was just wondering if it could have been, granite or concrete markers.
yeah,
for
no, they're bigger than that.
Okay, they're bigger. So I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
drive down and look.
I'll have to take a look.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not aware of any.
And so the other thing, I mean, the Conservation Commission can purchase land for the town. I don't know all the ramifications about how that's done, but that's another avenue.
They can purchase.
Right, but I don't know that they can accept a gift. That's different.
Oh, I don't know. I thought they could. I pretty much said, yeah, so I mean,
Well, one thing we learned at the trustees training last week is that gifts like that to the town, the legislative body, the town meeting is what accepts. And part of the reason why, it's kind of funny, they mentioned why would anyone turn down a gift if it's money or whatever land, but there are times where it's something where it's not in best interest of the town to accept. So I don't know, I would check to make sure the conservation can do that, because if that falls on, it's something that's not really, a
yeah,
benefit to the town.
I'm not 100% sure
I would check with him.
what he wants, and I'm not 100% sure that the town wants the liability of people going down there, people, all things to look into, but.
But you also may not be able to follow the wishes of the owner, so it's just like, college trust fund that they
Right.
want to give.
So right now, we're not taking any action. It's with the landowner.
Well, I will call him and see where he's at.
Okay.
I'll get that.
What's the landowner again?
Brown, huh? Is it Ed? It might be Ed, I'm thinking of another. We just recently went to, and their names were Brown. Oh, yeah, I think it's Ed.
If it is a private cemetery, it should show as such somewhere.
I know there's nothing in the tax maps. I'm 90% sure there's nothing in the tax maps that show any private cemeteries.
It didn't show in.
And the Historical Society, because I'm the president of that.
Just look when you go by in the corner of the field.
Yeah.
Take a look at it, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not aware of any private cemeteries in town.
This looks like there's 2 stones down in the corner.
Very well could be animal stones, because they used to do that.
Could be a pet
Horses.
cemetery.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Maybe.
If that's the case, it wouldn't show.
True. True.
So, if we're all set with that?
Yep.
Okay, so other new business, so, a resident had emailed a while ago asking about, the fields are completely surrounding his house are sprayed with cow manure, liquid cow manure. And he had complained that it's done multiple times a year, and basically he can't sell his house, and,
Got the same problem in my house.
and,
Just
so.
like they're cutting. So
Right.
another week they'll be pouring shit on it again.
Right, so I did look into it a little bit, so basically, if you look, here's, I didn't make a bunch of copies, but here's his house, and it's completely surrounded by where they spray. I mean,
Who was they?
oh, it's a citizen, it's a Dalton resident.
I'm sorry?
It's a Dalton resident.
Yeah, but who is?
It's a Dalton.
It
It's
does the spring.
okay. So it's right here, so it's completely surrounded. And, so when I looked into this, to try to Google stuff, so basically, this is, Forbes Family Farm in Lancaster is, spraying the liquid manure, and they have a 358-page, approved permit with New Hampshire EPA. So I had reached out to, because I only saw, the only thing when I looked at it was, it was pending. So I contacted the EPA, the contact, email, and they said it had been approved, so it's a 5-year permit. And then it gets renewed every 5 years, and you get public comment. But what she also had offered was that, the EPA could step in and ask, and I was, if they could help with it. They said most farmers don't want, people to be upset. The other thing the resident had also said was there's something that you can add to the manure, to the liquid manure, to make it smell less. And he actually thought, so then what they do is with that whole 58-page report, what they do is they map all of their liquid manure pits and where they spray it. So that's why it's so comprehensive. And so basically the long and short of it is he's kind of asked the select board to advocate to him to go and ask if they would consider putting this deodorant in the liquid manure. So if you look at it, it's all organic.
For us to request that he do that?
Just to approach Forbes Farm on his behalf.
Okay.
And ask, because he felt like as an individual resident, he wouldn't have much of a voice. So he asked the select board to ask them. And then, because the EPA had offered to step in, and I was like, I wouldn't want EPA knocking on my door unannounced. You know what I mean? I thought it would be if we decided to help this resident or intervene for him, or even advocate for him, that we would do so as a select board. If you guys are comfortable with that, but.
And so the additive, what is the additive?
It's basically bacteria. It's organic.
Okay.
So they said that even on the package, it says that you can, organic farmers can use it. And so it doesn't go to the cows. From what I've read, it treats the pits, and it makes it the smell a lot less. That's all I've been able to find so far. And then EPA.
Now, we also had a resident that was requesting that he get a tax break on his property, and he was told by Gary that it was only considered a temporary nuisance, so they wouldn't give him the tax break. Do you remember that?
That's the one I remember. I don't remember this one. So is it the same, same person?
I don't think he's the only one in town. I mean, I certainly deal with it on my side.
But if you look, I mean, and I don't know certainly on this, I can get the link, they can show you where they spray it. But basically this shows where they have to have a 35-foot buffer, because it's also the Connecticut River, so they have to have, the yellow is the 35-foot buffer. But this would be tied to a certain pit, manure pool or pit, so, and he's completely surrounded on all sides.
Is it, considered to be, economical for them to do this? Can they afford to do this without, is this stuff expensive to buy?
I think he said it was like $1 a cow a month. It depends on how much.
That doesn't tell me anything. That's so non-sensical. $1 a cow a month.
Well, he got the information from a Pennsylvania farmer, so that does it. So.
I know, so I guess,
And what is this, the cost of the additive to make it smell less, or something?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so is it, are we gonna cause financial ruins to?
Well, no, the request just is, if, as a select board, are we comfortable advocating for a resident that has asked for our help, and just maybe potentially, ask Forbes Farm if they would consider doing something different in that one pit that dumps there.
Has the landowner gone to Forbes Farm himself and asked?
He said he thought it would make the situation worse.
So why not just go to the Forbes Farm first and ask if they would consider?
Well, that's what I'm asking permission for, basically. I mean, I wouldn't do that on my own.
And how did this come to the board? Because it didn't come to
I got
me.
an email from the resident.
So it was just to you?
Yes.
So it'd be good if you could share it with all of us.
Yeah, it was somebody that I met when I was at the transfer station.
Well, I understand, it's the first I've heard of it, so I was just.
Right, well, I had to do research, and we had other stuff coming up, so.
I know they had a lot of problems in Vermont with that pit over there, and they ended up going in against the codes and the people lost because.
I think it's worth a try. I think it's worth a try of asking, sending a letter to this sports farm and
I think if
saying,
you talk to him, he's a very nice gentleman.
Yeah, it's a dairy farm, it's a big business, right?
Yeah.
So, no, so I just did like, right, so the EPA said, hey, we'll help, and I'm like, pump the brake, I don't, it's like, I think the first, was just to ask them what their thoughts are. Based on the information I found of the additive, it seems like the bacteria, it's organic, and it's eating it, so it doesn't smell as much. And so it didn't seem like, of course, my concern was obviously, you don't wanna put more chemicals in, right? I don't know how effective it is.
So I'm still wondering why we need to get involved, rather than the landowner going to the farm.
Because he is, as a Dalton resident, he has asked us to advocate for him.
But he hasn't advocated for himself yet.
I asked him if he got a hold of them, and he said that he felt it would make the situation worse.
Yeah, I understand, and I'm just trying to sort through what we're
Well, we can
setting.
think about it, and I can send the email and the links with all the stuff to everybody on the select board and the admin, and then we can talk about it next time.
That sounds good.
Okay. And then the last item on the business is, to review the project list. We want to do that today?
I know we do have, personnel issues to work
Okay.
through in
and
non-public.
one other thing this is the card for the gas for the state of New Hampshire where the cruiser used to get the fuel. I don't know if you need to return that, Bob. It was in the cruiser.
Is the fire department uses it on?
No, it's not the same company. This is the state of New Hampshire where they go and get it at Littleton, where the state gets theirs, or Northumberland. Huh? Yeah. But it's only for emergency, it's only for police. So I don't know if you can figure out that card, but that Bob should be returned.
Start with stakeholders, check it out and see what he says. And if I need to go further to the state,
Well, I'm sure that we must have paid for fuel. That's what I'm saying.
well, then we would get a bill.
Huh?
We would get a bill then.
I don't know.
We just signed a new thing for